Have you ever stepped into someone's home, maybe a friend's, a relative's, or even a stranger's, and instantly felt a wave of peace wash over you? Something quiet, something invisible, yet unmistakable. The kind of feeling that makes you exhale just a little deeper, that makes time slow down ever so slightly. And have you noticed the opposite too? A beautiful home, perfectly furnished, clean and modern, but the moment you walk through the door, something feels off. It's not about the decor or design. It's something you can't see, but your heart notices it. A heaviness, a sense of friction in the air, as if the energy, the breath of the space itself is blocked or tangled. Today, I want to talk to you about that feeling, that unseen force that speaks louder than any wall color or furniture arrangement. I want to invite you to consider this, that your home, the space you return to again and again, is not just shelter. It's a field of living energy, a mirror of your inner life. And if you pay attention, you might begin to notice the subtle signs, gentle whispers, that prosperity, clarity, and good fortune that are drawing near. Before we begin, I'd love your support. If this message resonates with you, even just a little, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who might need a bit of calm today, and subscribe to New Day Mindfulness. Reaching 1,000 subscribers will allow me to continue creating meaningful, grounded content for this beautiful community. Thank you for being part of this journey. Let's begin, not with superstition, but with simplicity. In every home, there are objects we see every day, but rarely look at deeply. The broom is one of them. We reach for it when the floor feels messy, when something has spilled, or when we're getting ready for guests. We sweep, we clean, we restore a sense of order, and then we lean it against a wall, forget about it, and move on with our day. But what if that broom still holds the energy of what it just removed? What if its presence, in the wrong place, at the wrong time, quietly disturbs the peace we're working so hard to create? You see, in Buddhist teachings and in mindful living traditions, we return again and again to this truth. Our environment is not separate from our mind. The way we place objects reflects how we place ourselves. The clutter in our homes often echoes the clutter in our hearts. So why focus on something as ordinary as a broom? Because it's more than just a tool for cleaning. It's a threshold object. It moves between the dirty and the clean, the seen and the unseen. In many cultures, especially those shaped by feng shui and Buddhist mindfulness, the broom is seen as a carrier of energy, energy that needs to be moved with purpose, not by accident. And so, in this video, I want to offer you something gentle yet powerful, a new way of seeing, not just your broom, but your whole living space, your habits, your quiet rituals. Because when you begin to live with intention, even the mundane becomes sacred. If you've ever felt like your home holds tension, like money comes and goes without rhythm, or like your rest isn't as nourishing as it should be, then maybe it's time to look not just at what's broken, but at what's misaligned. Sometimes the transformation we're seeking doesn't come from adding more. It comes from shifting what's already there, something we've long overlooked. And in this case, it could be as simple as moving a broom. That's the path we'll walk today. Not a path of superstition, but of spaciousness. Not of magical thinking, but of mindful seeing. So I invite you to stay with me, not because I'm promising a miracle, but because the most profound shifts often begin with the quietest decisions. This is New Day Mindfulness. And today we explore how even something as simple as a broom can teach us about alignment, clarity, and the flow of fortune. Are you ready? Let's begin. Part 1. The broom as a symbol of inner work. A broom is one of the most common objects found in any home. Most of us rarely give it a second thought. It leans quietly in a corner, behind a door, or in a closet, until something spills, dust accumulates, or guests are on their way. Then for a moment, the broom becomes active. It sweeps, clears, tidies, and just as quickly it disappears back into invisibility. But the broom isn't just a tool for physical cleaning, it's also a symbol. One of the most overlooked symbols of inner transformation. In Buddhist teachings, we often return to the principle of sama vayama, Right effort. It refers to the energy we bring to our spiritual path, the effort to prevent unwholesome states from arising, to abandon those already present, and to cultivate and maintain wholesome qualities in the heart. Now think about how a broom functions. It sweeps away what doesn't belong. It moves slowly or quickly, depending on your energy. It helps reset the space so new life can enter. That's right effort. When we sweep with intention, really sweep, not rush, we begin to understand how physical movement becomes spiritual movement. We're not just clearing a floor, we're practicing the art of clearing the mind. In this sense, the broom is not just a stick with bristles. It's a teacher. It reminds us that cleanliness is not just about tidiness, it's about energetic clarity. That behind every surface mess, there's often a deeper one, the clutter of worry, resentment, fatigue. And that restoring order outside can become a gentle mirror of restoring harmony inside. Let me share a story. Monique was a nurse in her late 40s who followed our mindfulness channel quietly for over a year. She rarely commented, never emailed. But one day she reached out. She'd recently lost her mother, had taken a leave from work, and found herself spiraling in grief and emotional disarray. The house was fine on the outside, clean enough, but it didn't feel right. It's like everything feels heavy, but I don't know why, she wrote. She had come across an older video where we discussed mindful sweeping as a grounding ritual. On a whim, she decided to try it, but instead of just cleaning her floors, she made it into a daily practice. Every morning before coffee, before her phone, she picked up her broom and started sweeping slowly from the back of the house toward the front door. With each sweep, she repeated silently, "Let it go, let it move." She kept her breath steady, her mind alert, her grip gentle. Within 2 weeks, Monique said the house breathed differently. She felt lighter. Her grief didn't vanish, but she said it stopped suffocating her. Her broom had become her spiritual practice. It might sound simple, but sometimes simplicity is the most radical act we can offer ourselves. We tend to think transformation requires massive change, but in truth, it often begins with something small, something consistent, a shift in posture, a whispered mantra, a sweeping motion. In the same way that the breath in meditation becomes a doorway to awareness, the broom becomes a doorway to space, to lightness, to freedom. Let's take this further. In traditional feng shui, which is not Buddhist in origin, but shares many overlapping principles with mindfulness and energy awareness, the broom is seen as an agent of movement. It governs the motion of qi, or life force. When placed correctly, it supports flow and harmony. But when misplaced, it stirs up stagnation, anxiety, even conflict. Now, whether you believe in qi or not, we all know what it feels like when something is off in a space, when there's tension in the air, or silence that doesn't feel peaceful, it feels unsettled. That's what we're talking about. And here's the deeper truth. Every time you sweep, you're deciding what you're willing to release. Just like in meditation, when a thought arises and you choose whether to hold it or let it go, sweeping becomes a ritual of choice. What will you carry forward and what will you brush away? This is why I often recommend beginning your mindfulness journey not just on the cushion, but with the broom. It's tangible, it's embodied, and it instantly gives you a sense of result. You can see the cleared path. You can feel the clean floor. You can breathe easier. And as you do this regularly, something unexpected happens. Your inner world begins to feel just as clear. In Zen Buddhism, monks take part in samu, physical chores like raking, cleaning, and yes, sweeping, as a form of meditation. It's not busy work, it's presence in motion. Sweeping a floor becomes no different from sweeping the mind. The focus, the patience, the effort, the letting go, it's all the same. So what does this mean for you? It means that every time you pick up your broom, you are given an opportunity. You can do it with frustration, with rush, with resistance, or you can do it with awareness, with care, with love even. You can turn sweeping into a prayer, not with words but with action. You can sweep for your family's peace. You can sweep for the clarity of your own mind. You can sweep for the opening of new paths, new fortune, new stillness. It doesn't need to be dramatic. It doesn't need to be announced. But when it's done with presence, the effect is unmistakable. Let me give you another example. Carlos, a retired mechanic in New Mexico, lived alone for several years. He didn't consider himself spiritual, but he emailed me once after moving his broom from his kitchen, where he had kept it propped against the fridge for decades, to a back porch area. He said it was just curiosity that made him try it. He'd seen a short clip about energy flow and figured, why not? Within days, he said his appetite improved. He stopped waking up tired. Even his estranged daughter called after months of silence. He didn't attribute it all to the broom, but he said something shifted. And that's the point. We're not saying the broom is magic. We're saying the broom, like so many things, holds meaning if you're willing to see it. In mindfulness, we often talk about karma, not as fate, but as the result of intentional action. And the smallest actions, repeated daily, form the fabric of your life. Where you place your broom matters, not because of superstition, but because it reflects how you treat the unseen parts of your life. And the act of sweeping, when done with presence, becomes a moment of awakening. So here's something you can try, starting today. Before sweeping, pause. Take one deep breath. Look at the space not as something to fix, but as something to honor. As you sweep, repeat a simple phrase silently. You can use clear the dust, clear the mind, or let go, make space. Move from the farthest corners inward. Let it be slow. Let it be intentional. After sweeping, return the broom to its place, not hidden in shame, but stored with care. Upright, clean, and at peace, let the broom be your teacher. Let it show you the beauty of effort, the grace of rhythm, and the wisdom of simplicity. And the next time someone asks, why do you sweep like that? You can smile and say, because I'm not just cleaning the floor, I'm clearing the path. Part 2. Energy blockages. Where not to store your broom. Let's shift from symbolism to something practical. Where you store your broom. Now, if you've been following the teachings of mindfulness, you already know that the way we treat objects in our home reflects how we treat our attention. Placement matters, not because of magical thinking, but because it shapes the emotional and energetic atmosphere of our space. In Buddhist mindfulness, we often speak of sati, awareness, not just moment-to-moment awareness, but spatial awareness. The awareness of our surroundings, how we move within them, and how they affect the quality of our thoughts. A cluttered room can mirror a restless mind, and the smallest misplaced item can cause energetic friction you can feel, even if you can't explain it. So let's talk about the broom. Because while a broom is a symbol of clearing, when stored carelessly or placed in the wrong spot, it becomes a quiet disruptor. It gathers dust, stale energy, and metaphorically, it carries the weight of what you've removed. If you store it where energy is meant to rise or settle peacefully, it can block that natural flow. Let's walk through a few key locations in your home and what they communicate on an energetic level when a broom is placed there. 1. The living room. The living room is often considered the heart of the home. It's where people gather, where laughter happens, where stories are told. Energetically, this is a space for connection, harmony, generosity. Placing your broom here, especially in plain sight, can subtly disturb that harmony. Because the broom represents movement out. Its presence signals something needs to be cleaned, even when it's not in use. It becomes a visual reminder of mess, not peace. From a mindfulness perspective, the living room is where collective energy pools. If you bring an object associated with clearing into that space, especially during moments of rest or communion, it introduces the sensation of unfinished business. It's like trying to meditate with a to-do list sitting in your lap. Instead, let the living room be a place of settled energy. When you're done sweeping, return the broom to a more discreet, neutral zone. 2. The bathroom. The bathroom serves an important purpose. Release. It's where we let go, cleanse, and physically detox. Energetically, it's a space of downward motion. It's where energy drains, literally and metaphorically. Storing your broom here may seem convenient, but it can amplify that downward motion, causing subtle emotional heaviness in the home. It's like placing a reminder of negativity into a space already charged with the energy of disposal. Some traditions even consider the bathroom an area that absorbs what the rest of the house casts off. When you place your broom there, it symbolically keeps it trapped in the same cycle. Instead of releasing what was cleared, the broom ends up marinating in it. That creates stagnation. And stagnation is the enemy of growth, whether spiritual, emotional, or financial. 3. The entrance. Your front door is more than just a physical entry. In both feng shui and Buddhist-aligned space awareness, the entrance is the mouth of energy. It's how life enters your home: opportunity, connection, prosperity. Placing your broom at or near the entrance is like standing at the door with a push broom, saying "not welcome." And most of the time, we don't even realize we're doing it. A friend of mine, Tom, a school teacher in Portland, used to lean his broom behind his coat rack near the front door. It was practical, easy to reach. But he often told me that despite all his hard work, money never seemed to stick. He felt like things would show up and disappear just as quickly. When I asked him where his broom was stored, he paused and laughed. Why does that matter? But he moved it anyway, tucked it behind a cabinet in the laundry room. I don't know what happened, he told me weeks later, but something felt easier, like things were flowing again. Coincidence? Maybe. But in mindfulness, we don't rely on luck. We rely on awareness. 4. The kitchen or dining room. This one might surprise you. The kitchen is more than just a place to prepare food. It's the energetic hearth of the home. It represents nourishment. In many Eastern traditions, it's directly tied to wealth and sustenance. After all, food is prosperity. Placing your broom in the kitchen, especially near the stove or pantry, can symbolically sweep away abundance. And more than that, it carries the energetic residue of whatever you've cleared from elsewhere in the house into the very space meant to feed and replenish you. Think about that. Would you prepare a meal on a plate that just held garbage? Probably not. But energetically, that's what we're doing when we store the broom where nourishment is created. Instead, treat the kitchen like a sacred space. Store only what contributes to vitality: food, tools for cooking, and ingredients infused with love. 5. Under the bed or in the bedroom. Now we come to perhaps the most sensitive area, where you sleep. Your bedroom is a sanctuary. It's where your body restores itself, where your mind dreams, where the nervous system finally releases the tension it's carried all day. From a mindfulness perspective, this is your deepest recharge station. Keeping a broom under your bed or tucked in a corner here is like placing a tiny anxiety machine where peace should be reigning. Why? Because the broom carries movement, activity, and outward energy. Even when not in use, it holds the memory of motion. And sleep requires stillness, grounding, safety. If you've been struggling with restlessness, waking up tired, or feeling emotionally drained in the morning, take a look around your bedroom. Is your broom quietly watching you from the closet, from beneath the bed? That tension, however subtle, may be telling your body, we're not done clearing yet, and that interrupts the invitation to rest. 6. Near an altar or sacred space. This is perhaps the clearest no. Your altar, whether simple or elaborate, is your inner space manifested in form. It's your daily anchor, a place to return, a place to pray, a place to reconnect with stillness, gratitude, and intention. Placing a broom near your altar is energetically confusing. The altar invites presence. The broom suggests removal. In some traditions, placing cleaning tools near sacred spaces is considered disrespectful, not because the broom is dirty, but because its function contradicts the energy of reverence. You wouldn't bring a dustpan to a meditation cushion. You wouldn't sit at a shrine and start rearranging the incense with a mop. Instead, allow your sacred space to be purely that, sacred. Let it hold clean energy by keeping other tools, especially brooms, at a gentle distance. 7. On or near staircases. This one may seem practical, especially if your staircase gathers dust or sees heavy traffic. But energetically, staircases are channels. They connect levels of consciousness, lower and higher, outer and inner. Placing a broom near a staircase clogs that channel. It suggests that something is always being swept away between floors rather than creating smooth movement. It introduces a jarring energy of maintenance in a space that should invite ascent, clarity, and flow. And if you live in a multi-level home where tension seems to settle between levels, try relocating the broom. You might be surprised by how subtly the energy lightens. The takeaway isn't to make you nervous about where everything sits in your home. It's to remind you your environment is alive. Your home is speaking to you constantly, through mood, through rest, through flow. And the broom, simple as it is, plays a role in that story. When you know where not to place it, you remove blocks, physically, emotionally, energetically. And when the blocks are gone, that's when things start to move. That's when luck shows up, not as a gift from nowhere, but as the natural consequence of intentional space. Part 3, conscious placement. Where to store your broom for flow and fortune. So far, we've explored where not to place your broom and why. Now, let's talk about where it belongs, because just as there are places in your home that disrupt flow, there are also places that encourage it. And it's not just about function, it's about frequency. Think of it like tuning a musical instrument. The broom may be a humble object, but when placed with care, it harmonizes with the rest of the home, supporting balance, peace, and even prosperity. As in mindfulness practice, we don't just remove what distracts, we invite in what supports. So where should you place your broom? 1. Behind the house, the quiet exit. Let's start with the most recommended spot in both feng shui and Buddhist-inspired space awareness, behind the house. The back of the home symbolically represents release. It's where energy that's no longer useful is gently returned to the earth. It's the exhale of the home. Storing your broom here allows it to continue its role in harmony, clearing, purifying, and moving on. It's not banished. It's placed where its energy belongs. This doesn't mean you need a special shrine or a fancy cabinet. A simple covered spot by the back door, out of direct sight, is more than enough. The key is privacy. Let the broom rest in the shadows, not under the spotlight. 2. Balcony or back hallway. Peripheral but present balconies and back hallways often serve as energetic buffers in a home. They are not active zones, but they connect and breathe. That makes them excellent places to store cleansing tools like brooms. Why? Because they're naturally transitional. They don't interfere with the vital spaces of rest, nourishment, or sacred connection. And yet, they're not forgotten. I once visited a friend in Santa Fe, a yoga teacher who lived in a small adobe home. Her broom leaned behind a curtain in her back hallway near the washer-dryer unit. You wouldn't notice it unless she showed you. "I sweep," she told me, "but then I let it rest where it won't keep stirring." That's the principle. Let the broom do its work, then let it be still, away from the heart of the home. 3. A closed storage closet containing the energy. A closed cabinet or broom closet is an excellent home for your broom, especially when that space is clean, dedicated, and intentional. Remember, the broom doesn't just hold physical dust, it holds symbolic dust, the energy of what's been swept away. By keeping it in a designated space, you help contain that energy rather than allowing it to drift back into your home. A storage closet creates a clear boundary. This tool is important, but it rests here and only here. If your home doesn't have a dedicated cleaning cabinet, you can create one. Even a tall basket behind a kitchen door with a cloth covering can become a sacred holding place. The key is care. When you treat the broom with mindfulness, you treat your home with mindfulness. 4. Hidden corners, supporting energy flow. Without interruption, some corners in a house don't carry much energetic weight. Think of that tucked away space between the laundry area and the back door. These quiet corners are often overlooked, which makes them perfect for storing energetic tools. These spaces are not symbolic centers of nourishment, sleep, or sacredness. They're energetic, neutral zones, places where stillness is appropriate and movement has already passed. Placing your broom here reinforces flow. What was swept out stays out. Nothing is blocking the stream. The idea is to store, not forget. This isn't about hiding the broom because it's dirty or shameful. It's about letting it exist in alignment with its function. It cleans, it purifies, then it rests. 5. On a wall hook or upright in a corner. With intention, if you must store your broom somewhere more visible, Like in a small apartment or shared space, do it with intention. Don't let it lie on the floor. Don't shove it behind a pun that slams shut on every hour. Instead, hang it upright. Treat it like a purposeful tool, not an afterthought. Choose a place that doesn't interfere with flow. Perhaps a corner near the laundry or beside an exit door. Somewhere that's quiet, used for transition, and not central to life's core functions. Upright placement holds symbolic meaning in many cultures. It signals readiness, respect, and care. When the broom is stored upright, it says, I am a tool for balance and I stand in that purpose. And just like that, your broom becomes not a disturbance, but a presence of support. Bonus insight, how I relearned this the hard way. Let me share a small story from my own life. Years ago, I lived in a one-bedroom apartment in Oakland. I stored my broom leaning against the fridge, right next to the kitchen table. It was convenient, but over time, I started noticing something subtle. I'd sit down to eat and feel unsettled. My appetite was low. I felt anxious without knowing why. One morning, I sat down for my tea and found myself staring at the broom's bristles. They looked tired, frayed, like they had been absorbing everyone's tension. So I moved it. I took 5 minutes to find a cloth bag, tucked it in the back hallway, and placed a little stone beside it. A weight, a symbol of grounding. That night, for the first time in weeks, I ate in silence. No tension, no unease. Just me, my meal, and peace. Sometimes it's not the big changes that create balance. Sometimes it's where you store your broom. And as you've learned today, that one decision can make all the difference. Part 4, the inner practice. Broom is a symbol of clarity and karma. Now that we've explored the practical side of broom placement in your home, let's turn inward. Because at its core, the broom isn't just about sweeping physical dust. It's about sweeping inner dust too, the kind that accumulates quietly over time. Resentment, regret, worry, mental clutter. The Buddha once said, with mindfulness, we clear the path. And there's something deeply symbolic in that image, not of building or adding, but of clearing. In many traditional monasteries, novice monks are tasked with sweeping temple grounds each morning. The work is repetitive, simple, and humbling. But it's not punishment, it's training. The act of sweeping is itself a form of meditation. One movement, one breath, one clearing, again and again. The point isn't to create a perfectly clean floor. The point is to practice awareness through motion. The broom becomes a spiritual tool, not for erasing the world, but for meeting it freshly. What if your home is a reflection of your mind? Let's imagine something radical for a moment. What if the physical layout of your home was a mirror of your internal state? That cluttered corner in the kitchen, is it connected to an unresolved tension in your body? That broom wedged behind the door, always falling, is that echoing some mental imbalance that keeps repeating? That freshly swept floor in your meditation space, does it feel like clarity? In Buddhist psychology, this is known as the principle of interbeing, the idea that our outer and inner worlds are not separate. When you place the broom mindfully, you are not just organizing your home, you're organizing your energy. The broom becomes a metaphor. It reminds you that clearing is a sacred act. It doesn't mean something was wrong, it simply means the space is now ready to receive. A real-life story I didn't know I was carrying so much. A student of mine once told me something that still sits with me. She was a single mother working 2 jobs. Her home was clean, but there was always a sense of rush in her space. Every surface held reminders, unpaid bills, kids' homework, unfinished tasks. And then one day she read an article about energy flow in the home. It mentioned something small: never store your broom in the bedroom. She laughed at first, and who had time to think about that? But later that night, while putting laundry away, she noticed her broom, wedged between the dresser and the wall, behind a pile of unopened boxes. Without overthinking it, she moved the broom to a corner in her laundry room. That's all. The next day, she said she felt different waking up, not magically healed, but slightly lighter. She told me, I didn't know I was carrying so much, not just in my schedule, but in my space. That broom, it was like a symbol of all the stuff I didn't have time to put away. And the funny thing is, once she moved the broom, she started noticing other things. A drawer she hadn't opened in months, a thought she kept avoiding, a relationship she needed to forgive. It started with the broom, but it didn't end there. What are you ready to sweep? There's a moment in meditation when we begin to see the dust, not the big obvious obstacles, but the subtle buildup, self-doubt, old stories, hesitation. And that's the moment we begin to clean. Not by judging the dust, but by noticing it, honoring it, and letting it go. This is the real teaching of the broom. Not just where you put it, but how you use it. When you sweep your floor, can you sweep your thoughts too? When you put your broom away, can you put away the story you've been carrying about why you're stuck? When you return the broom to its corner, can you also return yourself to presence? Let the broom be your reminder that you don't need to force transformation. You only need to make space for it, and space begins with clearing. Part 5, Beyond and Brooms, Cleaning as Meditation. We've talked about intention. Now let's look at the action itself, because whether you realize it or not, how you sweep your home can be just as important as where you store your broom. In mindfulness, it's often said that there's no such thing as a mundane act, only an unconscious one. Cleaning, then, is never just about dust. It's about energy, awareness, and symbolic motion. So here's a subtle yet powerful shift you can make right away. Sweep from the entrance inward. Yes, from the outside in. It may seem like a small thing, but energetically, it changes everything. Why? Because direction matters. In feng shui, as in many spiritual systems, sweeping inward is seen as a gesture of gathering. It's a physical way of saying, I welcome blessings in, I invite prosperity to stay. I draw peace closer to the heart of my home. By contrast, sweeping from the inside out, while logical from a cleaning standpoint, can subtly symbolize pushing things away. And when done unconsciously day after day, it can reinforce a habit of energetic rejection. Not of dirt, but of flow. A moment from my own life. Some years ago, I had just moved into a new apartment, a small second-floor walk-up in San Diego. I was feeling excited, but also overwhelmed. Money was tight. I was in between jobs. I kept the place clean, but it always felt empty. Not peaceful, not vibrant, just hollow. One morning, I came across an old Buddhist text that mentioned sweeping as meditation. I was curious. That day, I lit a stick of incense, opened the windows, and for the first time, instead of sweeping toward the door, I began at the doorway and swept inward. At first, it felt backwards, but something about it shifted me. I imagined pulling energy in, gathering support, welcoming warmth. And the room felt different afterward, not just cleaner, fuller, more alive, like I had invited something in, not driven something out. From then on, I made it a quiet ritual, open the door, clear my mind, and sweep blessings home. The deeper teaching, you are always in dialogue with your space. You may not realize it, but your home is always listening. Every gesture you make, from the way you fold your laundry to the way you arrange your shoes, speaks to the space around you. And the space, in turn, speaks back. It either becomes more open, more alive, or more stagnant. So when you pick up your broom, pause. Ask yourself, am I rushing to get this over with? Or am I using this moment as a way to align? And then sweep. Not to remove, but to invite. Sweep with intention. Sweep with care. Sweep with the quiet confidence that you are not just cleaning a floor. You are setting the tone for the energy of your day. Even the direction becomes a prayer. In Buddhist walking meditation, the monk doesn't rush forward. He walks slowly, each step grounded in presence, each movement filled with breath. Your sweeping can be the same. Start at the entrance, the gateway of energy, and move inward as if drawing all good things toward you. Health, peace, clarity, warmth, enoughness. This isn't superstition, this is symbolism. And symbolism is how the unconscious mind learns. It's how energy is shaped through ordinary gestures. Let sweeping become a meditation, not a chore. Think about this. The bristles gather what no longer serves. The hands move with intention. The body breathes in rhythm. The home receives the gesture. This is how sacred space is made, not with grand rituals, but with humble acts, done consciously. And in many temples, the floors are swept each morning before the first chant is even uttered. It is understood, if you want to hold the sacred, the space must first be clear. You don't need a monastery. You just need your broom, your breath, and your willingness to see the sacred in the small. Closing the circle. So as you stand at your door next time, ready to sweep, remember, sweep inward to gather in blessings. Pause before you begin to anchor your attention. Breathe through each motion to keep your body aligned with your heart. In doing so, the broom becomes your teacher, the act becomes a meditation, and the floor beneath your feet becomes a mirror, showing you that even in the most ordinary task, there is a quiet power waiting to be honored. Final, when the ordinary becomes sacred. So now we've journeyed together through something that at first may have seemed so simple, a broom. But as we've seen, it's never really about the broom. It's about what it represents. It's about the quiet energy you carry into your home, the way your presence lingers in the spaces you care for, the way your smallest habits, even where you sweep and how, begin to shape your inner world. You see, in Buddhist teachings, there's a phrase that means a great deal to me. Nothing is ever lost in mindfulness. No step is wasted. No gesture is insignificant. When you bring awareness to even the most mundane acts, you reclaim your power to create beauty, peace, and flow in your life. Not someday, but now, right where you are. The broom is just a beginning. Maybe tomorrow morning you will place it gently in a new corner. Maybe you'll sweep from the doorway in just to see how it feels. Or maybe, as you're tidying your space, you'll pause for a moment and realize you're not just cleaning your home. You're clearing space for what matters. You're letting go of what no longer serves. You're making room for clarity, for kindness, for something new to emerge. And that is sacred. If this video brought you even a small sense of stillness or inspiration, I invite you to share it with someone who may need it. Let's keep spreading these quiet truths. Feel free to leave a comment below, perhaps your own reflections or a ritual you practice in your own home. And if you'd like to walk this path together, I warmly invite you to subscribe to New Day Mindfulness. Thank you for being here, for your attention, for your heart. Until next time, may your space be clear, may your energy be steady, and may your life flow gently in the direction of peace.